Hi, I'm Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, and I want to thank you for coming to this video where you and I are going to be discussing 3 strategies that you can put in place today to start making money with a CNC machine. Now, it doesn't matter what kind of CNC machine that you have or are interested in. A router, a CNC laser cutter or etcher, plasma cutter, 3D printer, vinyl cutter, glass etcher. Any kind of CNC machine that you create things on, you can absolutely make money with and you can do very well. The thing is, you need to have a strategy in order to make it work. So what we're going to cover today is what a strategy is, why it's so important to have one, why people who don't employ strategies struggle and ultimately fail. And then we're going to talk about the 3 strategies you can start using now to start making money with a CNC machine. And then we're going to get into what strategy works for you and what you can start to make to sell. And along the way, I'm going to share my experiences, my failures, and my successes, and how I've adjusted my strategies in order to make it work. Now, before we get into this, I want to share something that's actually really exciting. I have been on the prowl to find really good quality router bits that you can get at reasonable prices that are made in the United States. And I finally found somebody that has got a really good reputation, and they've sent me some bits. I'm going to be testing them out. So watch for a video that's going to go through these bits, and we'll see. Okay, so let's get into this whole strategy thing. First of all, what is a strategy? Ultimately, a strategy is a plan of action that doesn't let you divert into different areas. So we're talking about making things on a CNC machine and ultimately selling it. So in order to start selling something, you need to start making something within like a limited space. When I started off, I was making all kinds of stuff. I didn't have a strategy. I didn't know. I want to tell you that's okay. You know, it's experimenting when you first start out. But the strategy when you actually start getting into the money-making thing is you want a plan of action where you can actually measure the results, how the market is responding to you. Are they buying? Are they not buying? What advice are they giving back to you? The market will always tell you. I want to give you a little example of lack of strategy. I am a Jeep person, Jeep Wrangler. And so I know that group. And so I started to make things around that group, like this Christmas ornament and these little refrigerator magnets and this wall hanging. The thing was, I didn't have a strategy to get it out there. And I tried multiple different strategies at the same time. Etsy, Facebook, YouTube, and I wasn't making many sales. And the reason is because I didn't have the strategy. Now, a strategy, like I said, is a specific way of doing something where you don't go outside of it. So the strategy had to change to, am I going to sell these on Etsy? Am I going to dialogue with people on Facebook? Am I going to get involved in groups and start talking to them? It has to be one strategy until you get it refined and understand how the market is responding and what the market wants. That's what a strategy does. It gives you good, solid feedback as to whether the direction you're going into is good or not. It allows you to correct your course. When you don't have a strategy, you'll run into the problems like I did. I've got a couple hundred of these things and they're still sitting around. So it's forced me to reevaluate, step back, look at me, what am I doing wrong? And refine my strategy, tone it down, and come up with one strategy in selling these cheap products. So the way I've redefined that is by getting involved in Jeep groups and starting to dialogue with them. But we're going to cover that one in just a minute. The point is if you don't have a strategy, you're going to be all over the place. And what happens with that is, without strategy, you don't have clarity in what you're doing. And that lack of clarity that you have within gets projected out to the marketplace. And so the marketplace gets confused as to what you're doing and what you're selling. So that's why it's so important to have strategy. I mean, that's why I get into business coaching now. I take my experience and I help you get into a strategy, determine measurables to see how the market's responding, and get make corrections along the way. And we also come up with accountability plans, and I hold you accountable. So if you're interested in business coaching and making money with a CNC machine, you'll want to get on my email list. There's a link down below. That email list, that'll give you access to free files, discounts that I get, and it'll give you priority into the business coaching thing and other things that are coming through the pipeline, which I've got quite a few things coming. So the reason people fail with a lack of strategy is when they're throwing darts all over the place. We set up expectations too high. I'm going to try this, I'm going to try it all over the place, and the market doesn't respond because of the lack of clarity and strategy, and we give up. Our expectations were higher than the reality of how the market works. So the other thing with lack of strategy, you don't get feedback from the market as to what the market wants. You're guessing at it, and you're not giving enough time for the market to respond to you. So that's the other thing a strategy does. It gives you a time frame to start to see your results or lack thereof. Without strategy, you don't have guidance that you follow. It's like a business plan at a very simplified level. Being a beginner CNCer, just getting into making money with a CNC machine, you want to keep it simple and toned down, and that's why I'm giving you these 3 strategies. So people fail because they don't have strategy and their expectations are too high and they give up too soon. So let's step into these 3 strategies, and I'm going to talk about why they work and why they don't work along the way. The first one is organic. Now with organic, that's friends, family, co-workers. So you buy a CNC machine, let's just say a CNC router, and you start making some amazing stuff off of it, and you start to show people what you're doing. Let them know, you're dialoguing with them. What that does is, first of all, they're intrigued with what you're doing, but it also makes them think about, you can do that, maybe you can do this for me. And they come back and ask you to make something like that, whatever it may be. That happened to me. I was posting all my stuff on my private Facebook feed, and a friend of a friend approached me and said, can you make this sign right here? And I said, sure. It's a $200 job. It took me a lot of work and a lot of learning curve because I found out there's a lot of little unique things in there I had to take into account that I didn't know up front. But the point is that was one of my paid jobs. Here's another one. I almost hate to show this to you because this has to do with elections. Someone approached me, by the way, this is a defect, okay? This has to do with the 2020 election, and my sister asked me if I could make 4 of these. And so, yeah. I don't really engage with what this represents, but I do engage with revenue, right? And so I said, sure, I'll make them. $10 a piece that she paid for. And she got much better quality than this one right here. But the point is had I not put it out there in Facebook and just showed people what I was doing, I wouldn't have had those jobs. I've got another one in the pipeline because of that, and actually 2 more. So letting people know that what you're doing and showing them. Now that's family, friends, co-workers. I want to take this to the next level. If you are into social media, if you are on Facebook, you absolutely 100% want to take advantage of your personal Facebook feed and start posting what you're doing on Facebook. And ideally, pictures of the finished product, and you want to maybe put a little clip of some footage of it actually being made. People love to watch things being made, and they love to see how that comes out in the end result. And that is what I did that got me this business. So Facebook is the way to go. Now, one of the things I want to talk to you about on this is what platform do you actually do this on? I mentioned Facebook, but there's other platforms. Instagram, there's Pinterest, TikTok, there's a number of them. One place and one place only. This is what strategy does. It keeps you toned in one place. My primary strategy focus for my business has gotten a little bit more sophisticated. And my strategy is primarily YouTube. I don't try to get on Instagram. I don't try to get on TikTok, Pinterest, and splatter myself all over the place. It gets too confusing. When I get confused, I project that out to the marketplace. The marketplace gets confused. So when you do it on Facebook, just pick out your personal Facebook page, put your stuff on there, talk about it. Don't try to sell people. People don't want to be sold, right? They want to see stuff. They will get the ideas themselves and start coming to you. Now, when it comes to charging your friends, family, and coworkers, that's a matter of you really want to charge what your project is worth. This is a friend, right? It's been actually a family friend for since I was like a teenager, right? But it's still $200. I'm not doing a favor. I'm giving them something that they want, and in return, they're paying me. Something like this has emotional value. This is a big key I want you to understand. I'm going to sidestep just a minute. This is being made because it has emotional value. This is a big deal because it had emotional value. Where I failed with this was I didn't incorporate emotional value. We were going to talk about this in just a little bit. So put it on your Facebook. The next thing to do within this first strategy is get involved in Facebook groups. Again, I'll use the example Jeep Wrangler. There's lots of Jeep Wrangler groups out there. And this in turn, and this was one of my failures. But I want to give you the direction, the strategy to get into that group and how to make it work so you can start getting sales. You get into the group, you start dialoguing with people, and share with them. Let them get to know who you are. What you're doing is you're building something called rapport. This is vital for any business to become successful. Rapport, trust, and relationship. Without that, it's very difficult to sell. So get into Facebook groups that you're interested in that has to do with, in some way, shape, or form, with the product that you want to make. And keep your products niche-y, right? Don't make a whole bunch of stuff like I did in the beginning, unless you're just practicing and learning. Make something that group is going to be interested in, and then slowly start to introduce what you're doing to that group. And you will slowly start to make sales for it. I've made some sales in Jeep groups, but I didn't focus my strategy just on the Jeep groups and dialoguing with them enough. So that's something I have to start working on once my other business aspect is up and running. So I think we've covered this one. Friends, family, coworkers, your personal Facebook feed, then start to build rapport in Facebook groups. People have a lot of success with this and doing these methods. It's the first way you'll probably make money with a CNC machine through your own personal groups. So in fact, almost everybody who starts in this, that's how they first make money. So let's go to the next one. That's going to take you a little more work, but it's still easy. Etsy or Facebook Marketplace. Now I want you to pick one. See, I'm going to stop for a second. Of these strategies that I am telling you, you have to pick one and one only. I'm just giving you three that you can pick from. So, all right, so let's talk about Etsy and Facebook Marketplace. I'm going to tone this to Etsy, okay? A lot of people buy off of Etsy. And going into Etsy, this was another one of my failures, by the way. Going into Etsy, you want to have a niche product that a lot of people are buying. Go into Etsy, see where the money is flowing. What are people buying? Here's how you tell. You pick a topic. So we'll just pick the topic, Jeep Christmas ornaments. And you go in and see which ones have the most comments. That means that's the one or the ones that are selling the most stuff. Study what they are selling. And why does it stand out from all the other products that are very similar? Christmas ornaments. And I'll give you an excellent example here. This, don't follow me, you won't make it, Jeep Christmas ornament is fairly generic. There's a lot of Jeep Christmas ornaments out there. So it didn't move very well. But the two that were moving, were personalized. In fact, the top one was a hell of a lot cheaper made than this. But what made it stand out were a couple of things. It had the year on it, and it had the color of the person's Jeep, and it was niched down to my first Jeep. And then it had the name of the person who owned the Jeep. Extremely niche-y, personalized. So personalization is really, really important. So I have to study that. I have to redirect a bit. Maybe I'll start etching names in here, which was the original plan. I just didn't do it. I got into it a little bit late. So for next year, I'll be ready. Look for what's selling. Now, we're going to take this to the next level. When you find something that has a lot of money is flowing, let's take something like a Disney character. A lot of money flows to the Disney characters. Look at that as a whole and think, what are people making, but what aren't they making for that Disney character? Perhaps it's a Christmas ornament. Of course, there's a bunch of Disney Christmas ornaments out there. But what if there wasn't? You're seeing all these other Disney characters, and you have this one area, a Christmas ornament, that's not made. Or maybe you can title it a mirror dangly. That's what my friend Patrick did. He looked on Etsy, found a little niche where products were moving, and he looked at what wasn't out there, the little angle you can come in at. And he did the Christmas ornament thing, and he couldn't keep up with the orders. He had to take that down so he could get all his orders caught up. The next thing is, in the Etsy thing, get with the times. My daughter bought a virus ornament, right? I mean, really? But it's what people are buying. So Etsy is the second place to go to, or Facebook Marketplace, but you pick one or the other, okay? And that's your strategy, or your personal Facebook page. So we have 3 different directions you can go in. The one thing I want to say with all this is keep your products toned down to a niche area. Don't make too much stuff until you understand the market. The next one is go to craft shows. See what people are selling at craft shows, and you look for the trend from not just what one person's saying that you like it, but look for the trend in the bigger realm. Go talk to the sellers at craft shows and just make friends with them and talk about what they seem to like to sell, what seems to sell best for them. And over time, what you'll do is you'll get a feel for that. And then you start producing products in that area and then sell them at the craft show. Now, given the times, it's a little trickier, but they still have these craft shows. So it kind of goes along the same way. What you're doing is ultimately finding out what people want in various niches, and you're building relationships with people. So that's, so that covers the 3 things, the 3 simple ways. The easiest is the organic, friends, family, coworkers, your social feed on Facebook, and getting involved in groups and getting to know people in the groups. The second one is Etsy and Facebook Marketplace. Etsy's a little bit easier. A lot of people sell on there, but don't feel like you're in competition. I think this is where a lot of people struggle. They think that they're in competition with other people. You're not. You just create what you want to create, see what the market says, and then adjust along the way. And then we talked about the craft shows. So let's talk about the foundations of why these different strategies work and why they don't work. This is like the really important part. Now, I've talked to you a little bit about the Facebook aspect, the friends, family, and coworkers. You have rapport with these people. So they want to buy from you, just like you want to buy from people that you know and trust and have relationships with, who want to deliver to you in value. Ultimately, that's what all sales comes down to. Building rapport, building relationships, and giving value first. So it's like me. I'll talk about a little bit about the strategy that I use in my business that works. How I've adjusted along the way has brought me to creating videos like this for you so that you can become successful. My success depends on your success, and that depends on the quality of content that I give you. Am I giving you the true nuts and bolts of making money with a CNC machine? Or am I just trying to sell you on the idea that you can make anything and make money? I have to be very honest here, a very personal thing. When I watch videos, this comes from a business perspective, okay, as a business person. When I watch videos on YouTube where people promote 5 things you can make on a CNC machine that you can sell, and they talk about these 5 things. They show pictures of their machine running around and making it, and talk about a couple other things. But they don't talk about how they're selling it. Where is the market that they're selling to? How do they approach the market? And what are their struggles? How did they fail? How did they succeed? How did they change? Those videos I have a problem with because they're just trying to entice you with the money thing without giving you the real meat of the matter of strategy, how to actually make it work. And so that's why I put these videos out here, because I just can't find videos that's really giving you the meat. So, by the way, if you're finding this helpful, please give me a thumbs up and a comment down below of what your thoughts are of what I've been giving you so far. I always dialogue with people who make comments, because you're you, right? You're a person instead of a number or a dollar figure. That's the other thing, right? I'm building relationship with you. I have to build trust with you in order for my business to grow. So when videos like that give you the shallow information, the underlying foundation, the trust, just isn't there. So one of the things I want to point out here is, given the change in life today, most income is going to come from the online space. So you have to tap into it in one way or another, like Etsy or Facebook or some of the other platforms. But I'd just start with Etsy or Facebook. Getting back to strategy for just a minute, I really want you to get this, why strategy is so important. Strategy gives you tunnel vision into one particular way to go about earning your income with a CNC machine, and keeps you from diverting off track or trying too many different things. You need to become an expert in that one area first, and to understand what the market does, how it responds, and become a master in that one area. And once you're like that, then you can expand out. So relationships are important. Feedback is ultra important. This goes back to my strategy. When people leave comments on my channel, I always talk back to them. And sometimes it's overwhelming. Sometimes I forget that I've talked to somebody, and I'm so sorry. I did it with Dan, right? I just forgot that I had talked to him, and I asked him the same question later, and he said, I already told you. And I had to go back and say, oh yeah, and apologize to him because it was just too much information coming in. But the feedback is so important. Your customers are going to tell you whether they like what you're doing or not. And when they give you feedback, you want to adjust with that feedback. What is the common thread in there that they're looking for? So if you're making a product, let's just say you're making a sign, and your sign looks great to you, but your customers are tending to, not black, but blue, we'll say. You need to adjust with that. That's why you have to listen to the feedback from your customers or from the people who are watching you. Focus on a simple product. So let's go into which method is best for you. The first one is, if you don't really care for social media, don't have a good feel for it, then obviously the Facebook thing is not the way to go. You have friends, family, and coworkers, so that's really easy. That's why I encourage you just to start off that way. Most people make their first buck that way. If you're not comfortable with that, go with the second one. Start working off of Etsy. Do the research on Etsy. Find that niche in Etsy that the money is flowing, and find the angle that people aren't making a product in, and hit that angle. Then the markets, right? They go to the craft shows and set up a booth after you've made some stuff. So what do you sell? This is where it gets really good. I can't emphasize enough. Sell words. So that may sound kind of funny. So this will send the message home. What does almost every single house have on it? A welcome sign. In fact, I did a video not too long ago of walking around a friend's house and seeing what they had in there to get an idea of what people sell or buy. That person had 4 welcome signs inside their house. So words sell. And I want you to think about this. The ones you see most are welcome and home. But I want to take you into the other room of my house and show you something. This is above my laundry, of course. This was on the wall when I moved here. People like to label their rooms. So words like kitchen, bathroom, laundry, these are words that people buy. Get into the welcome thing again. I have a welcome sign in the front of my house. Here's another one. Let me get this. This is one of mine favorites. Now, I made this, but this has to do with a sense of prosperity. Love is another word. I have a whole list of words that you can make to sell. And if you want that list, I only give it to people who are serious about their CNC journey, where you can make these words on routers, lasers, 3D printers, whatever. I have a list that you can have for free. Down below is a link where you can sign up to get it. You'll have access to free files that aren't available to the public, and you'll be the first to know about other stuff that comes down my pipeline. So if you want a list of the top 50 words that sell, then sign up for that, and then you'll have access to that. The word welcome is one that you almost can't lose on. This welcome sign, I put the vector file on my Etsy store. There will be a link to that, by the way. My #1 seller on Etsy is this vector file. I designed it up, and I've sold quite a few of those vector files. My friend Tasha has asked me to make a welcome sign out of this. This is an old weathered fence post that came out of her yard. So I'm going to put welcome right down that sign. I've got another thing here. This is HTC, which is for an organization that I have been learning under. People like words. So pick a strategy, get words, go find what people are buying, or figure out what they're buying and find the angle that they're not in, and start producing your stuff. Build the awareness. Get your stuff out there. Tell your family, friends, co-workers. So to wrap this up, I want to give you a little advice. Coming from integrity in business, if you're simply out to make the buck without understanding that there's people on the other side that want to be treated like people, that you are going to struggle. This business is a craft where you create things with emotional value for others. And you want to understand what that value is. And that only comes from your heart to want to help other people. It's like my value is I want you to succeed. There's no greater joy in what I do than when I see you succeed. That's why I've started business coaching. If you are brand new to CNC and you want to get educated on it, sign up to this channel. If you want to understand a lot more about CNC entrepreneurialism, sign up to this channel. I talk about both of these things. I train with VCarve, and I have the CNC Entrepreneurs Facebook group, so you can get masterminding with other people, get the ideas of what you can sell and how to approach the market from people who've been there, and work with other people that are at your level so you can buddy up. You'll be amazed at the kind of friendships you make and the ideas that you get. I hope this video was helpful. Again, if this was, give me a thumbs up. I'd love to see a comment from you, what your thoughts are. And if you're business oriented and you understand what I've been talking about, throw down your suggestions that other people may want to see. So there you have it. 3 strategies that you can start with today to start making money with a CNC machine. And I hope that you got something out of this video that will truly get you in the right direction so you can start earning revenue doing something that you love to do. This is Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, and I hope your day is awesome and tomorrow is even better. Talk to you later.